What's going on, people? Welcome back to the live Palace Focus. I'm joined by Stan here, and T will also be joining me shortly. You know, our weekly show. Not daily, weekly show. How does that mean? Our weekly show. I don't know if that will work. Our weekly show back on a Wednesday night due to the game being yesterday night, which was a very good game, Stan. We're all smiles on our faces. I had to go get a trim due to the win. You know, everyone's feeling fresh as well. You got a smile on your face. You was a bit frustrated a couple of weeks ago. But Palace, with a depleted squad, got the result out there. Just a general feelings before we go in depth about the game.
Yeah, the feeling was good, mate. Depleted squad, but I think we showed our squad depth a little bit, albeit against an absolutely terrible Norwich side, but we'll talk about that later. But just got the job done. It was professional. I think the second half was a little bit frustrating, but 3-0, 23 points at the halfway point. I don't think you can really, you mustn't grumble, really.
Exactly. T's joined us just in time as we start talking about the game. It's our connection issues. So T, we just started off. I'll stand about what he thought about the game, but was you surprised about the result considering the squad that we had? Like, the squad wasn't the strongest. We missed Wilf there. There was no Zaha, no manager. Once again, was you surprised on how comfortable it was with all things considered?
I guess a little bit of it was surprising, only because I hadn't really seen Norwich play this year yet. But then once I saw them and saw what their product was on the pitch, I wasn't surprised at all. It was one of those things like, man, these dudes look terrible, you know. But it makes you realize that it's levels, man. It's levels to this, and even when we're fielding a team that, you know, for us as fans, Snow is, I don't want to say a B class side, but like it's a lesser squad than we would put out there normally. You know, for us to be able to do that and come out and win a match 3-0 like that, I think that says a lot about us moving forward and where we've come from. You know, the fact that we can still put out really, really solid squads without guys like Wolf out there. So
yeah, is this our best step that we've had since we got promoted to Premier League in terms of squad? When you look at the quality, I mean, we didn't have Zaha or Gallagher, but I know Norwich were poor. I know they were poor, and they look like a relegated side already. But we still have some quality players out there. We're talking about, later on in the show, we're going to talk about our best signing so far this season. Will Hughes, he can start. He can play on his day. He's unstoppable. And once again, he had a very good game. Mark Guay, solid defender. Joachim Anderson. Talk about Jordan Ayew. And Odsonne Edouard. Do you think we've reached the stage since our Premier League era now that we can go into games not Wilf there, but even with Conor Gallagher not being there, and we can still go win games? Or is it just the fact that Norwich were that poor, that's why they made us look better than maybe we should have been against any other side?
We are at a point that we have never been at before, hands down, whether it be squad depth, quality of the squad depth. Okay, you win a game against Norwich 3-0 with this team. Against another team, it may be a closer competition, but it's still going to be a game. You know what I mean? So we find ourselves in a position, I don't think that we've ever been in before, where we have guys that, you know, for us to say from last year to this year, for us to say, well, how is Eze going to fit in when he gets back? Last year, we were like, what do you mean? He walks into the starting 11, he plays every game. You know what I mean? But this year, it's like, well, yeah, like, where does it fit? Because right now we're doing so well, and we got guys in positions, and we're playing so well. How does it fit? But that's just a luxury of having the talent and the depth that we have right now. So I think it's one of the best positions we've been in maybe ever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Before we talk about the lineups and the game in more depth, just to let you know, if you want to join us, have your say, whatever you want to say about Palace, I have posted the link. Go on the comment section, click on the pinned link, and you can join us. You don't have to turn your webcam on. You can just share your voice. Just go on our YouTube channel if you're watching on Facebook and Twitter, and just click on that link and join us there. And we'll also be reading out your comments, so don't worry about that. And if you do enjoy the show, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As much as we're here talking about it, we want it to be your show as well. So feel free to join whenever. If you agree, disagree with us, if you want to say whatever you want to say, what's on your mind, join us and let us know. Now, talking about the lineups, let's start with there. I talked about missing players, some key players missing. But Mark Guay came into the lineup. Jean-Philippe started for us. First start since the Chelsea game. And Jeffrey Schlupp as well in place of Tompkins, Wilf, and Conor Gallagher. I want to start with up front. Jean-Philippe Mateta. Look, there was rumours, and we've been on this live Palace Focus talking about what do we have to do in the January transfer window. Jean-Philippe seemed like he was going to leave. There's still that possibility. But yesterday, second start since the Chelsea game, as I've said, very good finish. That finish was not easy. Very good finish. What does this mean for his Palace career? Does this change anything, his performance yesterday?
I don't think so. I don't think it changes anything. I think, you know what, though? I don't think it's that easy for him to go back, first of all, because from what I've heard, Mainz don't want him back. And Palace can't really terminate the loan, so they'd have to find him. They'd have to really try and engineer him and move somewhere, which I think there's bigger things to be concentrating on. And I think he's shown that he can do a job, and he's done it twice now. But he is, I think, you know, our third choice striker, but we have got players going to AFCON. I think he's going to be needed. I think they might use him sparingly because it triggers a buy clause. There's a buyout clause now as well. So we'll have to see. I think he's probably got 5 or 6 games left in him before we've got to buy him. Do you know what I mean? So,
and I guess none of us on here want to buy him on a permanent deal.
Not for what we brought him in for.
15 million. I mean,
he didn't play that good yesterday that we want to spend 50 million straight away and buy him after scoring that goal.
Right. I think it's kind of a rock. It's like a rock and a hard place. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's playing well, and you love the fact he's playing well and that you can put him in there, he can do the job. But like Stan said, you know, we then have to use him sparingly because in 5 or 6 matches, we're triggered to pay for him full out. So, I mean, the thing I'm hoping for is maybe come January, we can go back to the table with Mainz and maybe restructure the loan deal. And maybe then it's still a buy clause, but maybe we're looking at 8 million, 7 or 8 million. You know what I mean? I think that is a number that I feel way more comfortable with if we ended up having to activate it. Because like we talked about a little bit yesterday, you know, we know he can come in and do a job. So going into the summer, if we decide to keep him on our books and go ahead and make him permanent, that gives us 2 legitimate strikers in the case that, you know, Benteke decides to leave.
Stan, what impressed you the most about his game? Of course, there was that finish. Is there any other area of the game that you noticed was good enough? And also, with his hold-up play, that has been the question. Can he do it? What did you think about that yesterday?
I don't think his hold-up play's ever been any good. I'll be honest with you, like, it hasn't changed me. Like, he can finish. I always knew that he could finish given an opportunity. Okay? I mean, he did miss a couple of sitters against Watford, but I always knew that he could finish given an opportunity in the grand scheme of things. Nothing's changed my mind on JP. He came in, he did a job. He did, you know, it's the same thing with Ayew where people are like, oh, he's a world beater. Well, he's paid a lot of money to play football. JP has also paid a lot of money to do a job, whether he's the first, second, third, fourth, or 10th choice, he's still paid. So nothing has changed my opinion on JP. He had a good game. He did what he had to do. He's a team player, fair play to him. But I mean, I don't think we should be starting any sort of pandemonium about him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's good to see that if we do have an injury crisis, which God forbid that we do, we've gone past this stage of the season where you normally do pick up injuries with lots of games happening in the month of December, that he can come in and do a job. He can come in and do a job. I don't think, for me personally, I don't think much has changed. He's a good finisher. And you would think that with the players that we got, we'll create chances for him to finish them, to finish them opportunities. And maybe he might have more of a say in the future, maybe more opportunities coming off the bench. I'm not too sure. But for me, it gives me hope, but it doesn't really change much if you look at the grand scheme of things. Good thing that we have a player that can come in like that. You know, we all wrote him off. Exactly, we all wrote him off, and
Yep.
even the players that we write off, they're talented enough.
He missed a couple chances as well, though, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he had that one that sticks out is the header off of that little dink cross that Edouard gave to him. That would have been a goal. That would have been a goal.
Yeah, I don't think he missed that many. That happened in front. I don't think that was as clear. Yeah, maybe
His
if you
finish
put
was
more
good,
power.
though.
I mean, that's the only one
great
that can
finish for the
stuck out to
goal.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Louis asks, if we finish 6th to 8th this season, do you expect Europa League? Let me slightly change that question. Do you think we can finish 6th to 8th?
No.
I mean, we don't want to get carried away after that win because, as I said, we faced the Norwich side who, in that starting lineup, they had no one this season who scored a Premier League goal. So let's put that into context, and everything into context. But realistically, we pretty much this was our last game this year. Where can we finish this season?
9th or 10th would be amazing.
Yeah, 9th would be amazing.
T, can we push the 7th?
We could push the 6th or 7th, but with that comes the fact that we can't afford to not win games that we're supposed to. You know, we can't afford to have the ties with Southampton. We can't afford to go into Burnley or play against Burnley and come out with ties. We got to win these games that we've been tying in the first half of the season. Those got to be wins. You know what I mean? We can't drop the games that we should definitely be winning, and then we've got to win some games that people don't expect us to. And if we do those things, then we probably could.
I think realistically, season 1 under Patrick Vieira, we have got some good players. We've had some good results, but I think you just got to be realistic. Like, this was always transition, and we should always still see it like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think 6th to 8th. Listen, I would love to, man. Like, imagine it, like going to Europe away and it'd just be a madness. But I think we need to be realistic. It's going to be,
So if you look at the results, I said it when we approached these games after the City game where we had all these winnable games. And I said that this is going to show what we can do pretty much this season. And when you look at the results that we've had during that period against opponents that we should beat, which of course isn't easy. It's easy for me to say, but it's winnable games. We had a hard start to the season. We beat Norwich 3-0. We lost to Tottenham 3-0, which no one really expected us to get anything out of that. Southampton, as I mentioned to you, disappointing 2-2. Everton, we got a pretty comfortable victory there, 3-1. United 1-0 loss. Leeds 1-0 loss. In that game, you shouldn't lose to them considering that they've had so many injuries so far this season. Villa game hurt a lot as well, 2-1 at home. Burnley 3-3. So, we're talking about 3 to 4 games, and that's a lot of points there that we should have, maybe picked up a bit more. But as Stan mentioned, it's a transition season. These type of things will happen. It's been frustrating. It's been a frustrating month if you take away the Norwich game. We've had some, apart from the Everton game, with Southampton game, the Aston Villa game. Maybe we should have done a bit more, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I would have loved us to finish in the top 7, though. I would love us. Oliver says, "What's the situation with Gallagher?" I'm not pretty too sure. I don't know about you guys. It seemed like
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, he hasn't. They're not really clear whether it's got COVID situation. They talked about after the game, and there was a mention that he might be back for the West Ham game. So I'm not too sure if it's
about the Chelsea lads.
Can you imagine? It might be just a slight knock. I'm not too sure. It's not
what
really
I heard
clear.
is after your 19th game, they reset your yellows. So I think that they might have rested him for the 19th game so that he has a fresh slate of yellows.
That makes sense because if he picks up a yellow against a team like Norwich, which we should win that game, he picks up a yellow in that game, we lose him for West Ham. So that's actually a very good shout. Some more comments. Our highest finish was 10th, so getting that should be a good thing. Darren says, "We aren't pushing for 6 or 9 this season. We should be ecstatic if we get close to 10th. That would be incredible under our new manager, team, and playing style." AY says, "Brighton again peppered by Chelsea." Lucas saying we can potentially look at 8th. Jay saying 11th to 9th is where we finish. AY talking about my trim. I had to go get a trim after that win yesterday. I can't be looking a lot rough like that if we're playing that well. Jay says we're not ready for Europa League yet. So yeah, I think 9th to 10th. That's what majority are saying. So going back to the game now. So we talked about JP. I want to quickly give a shout out to Mark Way. Look, yesterday we're going to talk about Odsonne Edouard, of course. We're going to talk about Will Hughes, and also transfers later on in the show.
But how important is Mark Way to the defense? He didn't play in the Tottenham game. And after the Tottenham game, just looking back at how we played and the goals that we conceded, personally, I think he's in the same category as Mitchell in terms of he plays so well, he's so consistent that we don't really talk about him much. But yesterday, he just gives you that bit of ease. I know that Norwich had a bit more chances in the second half, but overall, when we start with Mark Way, I don't know about you guys, I feel way more comfortable. I don't care who plays alongside him, but Mark Way is our best defender.
Without a doubt, he's integral. Like, that's the word I would use for him when it comes to it. Like, when it comes to him and Tyrick, they're integral to the success of our defense. If you notice, like, do you ever notice just how many shots Mark Gahey blocks in a game? It's outrageous. Yeah. He blocked at least.
He's a very comfortable player. Very comfortable player.
Yeah.
He's got the IQ. He's got the IQ for defense. That's what makes him good. He's got the talent. It's similar to Will Hughes. He's got the talent, but he knows how to read the game as well. He knows where to be at the right time. I think that's what makes him good.
Pushing forward too. Like, there are times when he's on the ball and he pushes forward, and a lot of times with defenders, you're like, you worry. But I never worry about him when he decides to make that move to push forward. You know what I mean? Like, because he usually, when he's making those decisions, it's for a good reason, or he sees something that maybe we don't when we're watching. So
yeah. And then, now talking about the first half, I think Will Hughes, let's just start about him. He created the first penalty, winning the penalty. Once again, very good game. In the first half, it was pretty much comfortable. Norwich shouldn't threaten us much. They had balls over the top, but I felt like we dealt with them perfectly fine. Maybe in the second half, they got a bit into the game. Maybe that's because we pretty much, just took a step back. We didn't need to put 100% effort because the game was done and it didn't make any sense. But, Will Hughes wins the penalty, but very, very solid game. And
very solid.
And as I mentioned with the Mark Way situation, it's his IQ. It's his IQ that stands out once again. And he's a very good defender. I think the one area that everyone knew about Will Hughes and how good he is on the ball. But off the ball, we're seeing how good he is also in that area of the game where he can put the challenges in. He can make the tackles. And I said it in my reaction video as well. Will Hughes is a future Palace captain. I'm not saying it based on his performances so far this season. If you take a step back and if you look at what he does on the pitch in terms of how vocal he is,
you can see it.
He acts like he is the captain of this team already. He'll go to for example, if Tyrick doesn't do something right, he'll go to Tyrick and talk to him. He'll go to Wilf and talk to him. He'll go to the referee. He takes accountability and he plays with a responsibility on his shoulders as well. And the fact that we got him for 8 million.
It's 6 million.
6 million, yeah.
And Watford are crying. Their fans are crying. Oh my god.
Well, I'll be crying as well. Imagine we had Will Hughes and we sold him for £6 million.
And they replaced him with Odsonne Edouard, and who's the other guy?
That we were linked with.
Apparently, and they're saying
that worked out.
Toufan's lazy, he's overweight.
Well, that's what happened in Turkey as well. Before that's the reason why they sold him in the first place.
Because of that.
Because all he was doing is playing Counter-Strike at home and eating crisp. That's the problem in Turkey. That's what he was doing, and he's still keeping. He's still keeping the same behavior. Well, to be fair, if you're earning 20k a week, maybe that's your motivation, and you just want to play Counter-Strike. But this is good that we didn't get him. We won that deal. But about Will Hughes, do you guys think he can be a captain, or am I just getting too far ahead of myself?
No, I mean he plays a position that is very commanding. You have to, like, in that holding role that he plays, you have to get everybody involved. You're the link between the defense and the midfield and the rest of the team. So he's got to be like that. It's kind of like playing quarterback in football, in the American football. Like, you are the focal point in a lot of ways, and you're responsible for communicating to the entirety of the team. So it's a leadership-based position in our system. So so for him to be doing as well as he is in his position since he's gotten in there, yeah, it makes complete sense why we would see him then becoming that type of leader for us in the future. So I don't see why not.
Well, look, Stan, there's other shouts and there's some good shouts, which I didn't put much consideration into because I was hyped over Will Hughes' performance yesterday. But Palace 1439 says, personally, Mark Way is a future Palace captain already. He's already captain in the England under-21s.
Yeah.
And George said Gray is a future captain, or Anderson. So for you, in terms of like future captains, who is it? Because Mark Guay is a decent shout as well.
I think Gay is a
He's
very
already
decent
captain.
shout. I think he's proved that, and like you said, obviously England under-21 captain. I don't think Anderson, just because he's too many mistakes in him. I mean, he was Fulham captain last year. I know that, but
Yeah,
Was
after
he?
like 2 games.
He's Fulham's captain.
Yeah, after like 2 games out on loan.
That
he
says
came in and he
absolutely-
became says everything about Fulham.
Unfortunately, that says
their
absolutely
season.
nothing.
No, but it says everything
nothing.
about Fulham's situation.
Right.
Well, it does say something though, T. You can't just brush it off. He was captain after 2 games.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
it might be his character behind. We don't know what goes on in the training ground. But on the pitch, what I see on the pitch, I think Mark Guay makes sense because of what he does for England under 21s and who's due to what I've seen.
Yep.
But maybe Joachim Andersen is a captain behind the scenes, and maybe he could be the guy to lift the players up. Who knows?
Maybe so.
Yeah. So we got George saying I have a strange feeling we'll get a great FA Cup run. Brighton are 1-0 down. Aaron
Lord,
says,
I hope so.
interesting question for you all. Who and where would you make signings just January to bolster the squad, defense, midfield, or forwards? What do you think we need this January to possibly push up the table? I'll start off by saying we don't need anyone in January. We don't need anyone, but
No.
we can.
Yeah, we don't
go
have
and
any
improve the
we don't
squad.
have any glaring.
And I
needs.
think our summer, and that goes down to our summer business. We've arguably had one of our best windows. I mean, we're going to talk about the signings not that long in a bit, and we've improved the squad just not by numbers but by talent. That even as we're talking about right here, there's players who can step up. We've got enough depth in every area for us to push up. I just think we have to improve the overall squad, and in the January transfer window, you don't go and really do that. That's for the summer. January is if you need to improve it because you know players come costly. Maybe there might be opportunities. Maybe some players' contract is running out and he might want to leave, and we can go and grab someone like that. But overall, I personally don't think we need to bring in players in January. It depends on the outgoings, but I don't expect much outgoings. Maybe if Jean-Philippe leaves, that we might have to bring in another striker. But if the squad is as it is, which I think it will be, don't really need to bring in anyone. Do you guys agree?
You've got to look at, like, if someone really good is available, then maybe we can make that happen. Do you know what I mean? But like, even if you look at fullback, maybe someone that can play left back if Mitchell gets injured, right? But you're not going to get a top quality left back to come and sit on the bench. Do you know what I mean? So you're better off blooding a youngster.
And we talked about that. Is that Ferguson? Yeah, is that Ferguson?
Yeah, but Nathan Ferguson is what's it called? Like he's not far away. He hasn't played football in 2 years, so I'm not going to get carried away. Kleiny's there, can play right. He can also play left. Joel Ward can play right, can play left. So we've got quite good depth there as well. Midfield, we've got Maka coming back.
Yeah, midfield is packed.
We're packed. Midfield stacked. Too many midfielders up front.
Exactly.
There's talk about that Donny from Real Madrid. I don't know. Do we need him?
From Orlando City.
Yeah. There's that as well. What's his name again? I forgot. Because their MLS is not. It's not on right now, is it? So
they're in off season. That's why they do.
Yeah.
Like they tend to do 6-month loans. They're doing 6-month loan deals right now, and basically it goes to the end of our season and the beginning of theirs.
Yeah, right. Lorenzo Insigne's coming Toronto FC, baby.
That is wild. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing with like.
I know what he's doing. 11 million a season.
Yeah, I'm about to say. You see how much they're giving him?
11 million USD a season, mate. I'll take. I'm there, mate. Come, let's go.
Yeah,
I don't blame him. To be fair, when they talk about
Giovinco, they want Giovinco part 2.
Yeah,
jeez, man, that is he's a talented player. He can go play in Europe still. That's a lot of money though. Exactly. Lewis says, I feel like we need a young and experienced goalkeeper, Dean Henderson. I think the United are not letting Dean Henderson leave. In all honesty, I think there was a report about him out.
Okay, Butland is a decent enough number 2. He's not number 1. He's a decent enough number 2 that can do a job when it comes in. VG, I think the argument's been settled. He's number 1. He's a good Premier League level number 1 goalkeeper, right? Dean Henderson. So what? You're going to oust VG and bring in Dean Henderson, I think that's a little bit harsh, to be honest with you. I don't think
Yeah,
Vicente
I don't think you're bringing the goalkeeper. I don't think you're bringing the goalkeeper in January. If you're going to bring in the goalkeeper, it'll probably be in the summer.
Yeah. This is all summer business. That's what I'm saying. It's all summer business.
And they're going to want Dean Henderson. United are going to want 30, 35 million for him. I never want to see Palace spend that sort of money on a goalie, man. No way.
Yeah, they're going to want.
I would. I would. If it's a quality young goalkeeper, instead of spending like 5 to 10 million every like 2 to 3 years, I'd rather spend a good amount of money on young goalkeeper. And a goalkeeper is an area that we need to improve on in the future. I've said it before. Yeah. Like Vicente is a good shot stopper, and Jack Butland on his day can be very good as well. But we need a goalkeeper who's very comfortable playing out from the back. And Vicente didn't have a bad game yesterday, in all honesty, playing out from the back. But in the future, we might need a younger goalkeeper who's got potential, just like Mark Way. We talked about Mark Way earlier in the show, but I think his value's already increased. He's not 80 million anymore because of what he's done in the Premier League. So we can easily sell him for profit straight away, which shows the reason to go and get younger players. If we go get younger goalkeeper,
in 2 years' time, he's going to be absolutely brilliant. Like the naivety and the mistakes will get cut out, and he's going to be even better than he already is. Okay, and he's going to be worth 60 million plus. And Chelsea have first refusal on him. It's in the contract.
Yeah. We're getting profit. We're not losing our money. We're not losing our money with Mark Way. That's it. We already made our money. Let's just say that. We already made our money and even more. So going back to the game, we diverted a bit of track and talked about transfers, which we'll be talking about signings as well. I want to talk about Odsonne Edouard against Norwich. 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 key passes. And one important stat for me, based on how we were talking about Wilf, 3 out of 5 dribbles attempts successful. And that dribble attempts, for them to be successful, you have to run out the defender and beat them. And that's what he was doing yesterday. Out on Wilf's side, Wilf was out with the red card. What is his best position, though? Is it striker or winger? Because I want to see him play more up front. That's what I did say weeks ago. I want to see him play more up front because I think he's a very good finisher. But is he more suited out wide in terms of the system that we play, or what is his best position?
Well, the thing is, I think it's once again, this is a good problem to have. You have a guy who is a fantastic footballer. He can finish, he can pass, he can dribble, he's complete. So the question isn't whether or not where he should be. I think he should just be. He needs to be in there. You know what I mean? He's the type of guy, he needs to be on the pitch. It's hard not to have a guy like that on the pitch because he does so much for everyone else and for himself. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, with having a guy like Wilf, I think you want him up front just because you want to be able to give Wilf the opportunity to be in the game and stuff we know Wilf can do. So I would want to see him up front, but I guess the luxury is that you have a guy that's good enough that it doesn't matter where you put him, he's going to be a danger to the other team.
I think in a 2 with Benteke, mate, him and Benteke in a 2 would be unreal.
Yeah, but we don't really play like we have wingers, we have one striker, we don't play like that. So do you think it's worth changing the system for that?
No,
they did play together. What game was it? It was recent.
Arsenal.
No. It was literally 2 up front. Edouard and Benteke were chasing the game.
We went 4-4. We went 4-4-2. No, we went 4-4. No, we went a 4-2-4. It was a game we were losing. We went 4-2-4. It was
gosh, we were chasing the game.
Yes, it was
Arsenal.
It was recent as well. Let us know in the comment section if you know what we're talking about. It was a recent game
because it was him.
Came off the bench. It was Benteke. It was him.
Benteke. Olise was out wide.
It was Southampton.
It was, isn't it?
Was that Southampton?
Yeah, it was very recent. Where we were trying to win the game.
We scored super quick. We scored as soon as we went to that 4-2-4. I think that was
Ayew that scored. Yeah, Ayew scored, but I'm not too sure. But anyways, look, it did happen. They came off the bench. They never started together. But Darren's put an interesting comment saying that Edouard does more than just score goals. His passing is good, plays smart balls. Do you guys think that as the games have gone on, Edouard is getting used to Premier League football? Because we talk about Scottish football, and it's something that we haven't really talked about on this channel in particular about Edouard, about him getting used to the style of football over in the Premier League because it's way more intense, more quality players. It's going to be a bit harder. Do you think it's just a case of Edouard is getting so comfortable? There was times where the ball came to him and his first touch is just ridiculous. Brings the ball down, runs with it. Do you think that's just down to him getting used to the league?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing I would say about him is he's good anywhere across that front three. So he can play in the middle, he can play left, he can play right. I'd be comfortable with him anywhere, to be honest.
He could play attacking midfielder, I think. Like he could play behind the center forward too. Like he's that talented.
Yeah. He's ridiculous on it. Like yesterday, we saw the other side of his game, what he can do on the ball and his first touch, and he is ridiculous. And we are going to be talking about him later on in the show. First of all, we're going to be talking about him in just a second about the best standing of the season so far, and just keep this in your head. Who starts next game? West Ham in the West Ham game, Edouard or Wilf? Just keep down your foot because that's going to be coming up. Aaron says Odsonne Edouard worked so hard for 90 minutes non-stop. Whilst most players were getting fatigued towards the end, he was still putting in 100 like an engine. His fitness is great. Edouard and Benteke up front would be great. They're great dynamic to offer something different. Gueye, future England centre back. Yeah, 100% agree. He's definitely future England centre back. And Demo says goalkeeper. So let's move on to the second part of the show. Norwich game, we're happy with it. 3 points. Odsonne Edouard, Will Hughes, Jordan Ayew. Just quick mention from him for Jordan Ayew. Honestly, he's going to be. I personally think he's going to be our biggest miss when the players go to the AFCONs. The form he's been in since the Leeds game, he's ridiculous. The only problem that we've had with Jordan Ayew is that he wasn't scoring goals, but he's got confidence now. And the flicks over the top, beating two players at once. Jordan Ayew
he was playing Norwich though.
It doesn't.
Let me give you a stat.
Stan. I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna let you say he was playing Norwich because I just said in the last 7 games since the Leeds game, he has been playing well. So let me ask you a question. Is that right or wrong?
Correct. He has been playing well.
So let's not do this. It was only Norwich.
I know.
Let's not downplay it.
I saw him yesterday, and look, what he was doing yesterday was unbelievable. But this Norwich team that we played, I know obviously we're on a high with it, etc., etc. And look, Jordan Ayew has been brilliant past couple of games. I totally agree, and all credit to him for that, for proving me wrong in particular, proving all of us wrong. This Norwich team yesterday, between them in their entire starting 11, had scored 1 goal. 1 goal.
But that's not to do with Jordan Ayew. We can talk about.
I'm just saying, the entire Norwich team all season has scored 8 goals. 8 goals. 8 goals, mate. So that's what we were up against. He was great yesterday, and he had a great game. But we can't.
He was also good against Tottenham. He was one of the better performers against Tottenham.
He was excellent against Tottenham.
Exactly.
Excellent.
So I'm not letting you do this. I'm just not going to let you downplay his performances over the last 7 games. I get what you mean, but we can easily say that about Odsonne Edouard. Well, he got this goal and 2 assists, but it was against Norwich. Like we can say that about anyone. You can only do what you got. But
about the game in general, though, this Norwich team that we played, I think that's one of the worst Premier League teams I've ever seen at Selhurst Park in my whole entire life.
Nonetheless, Jordan Ayew is playing out of his mind right now.
Exactly, and we are going to miss him. We are going to miss him.
We will.
And who would have thought we would have said that about 2 months ago? No one. Because we didn't think that he should be starting. At least they should be starting. Rice says we should take advantage of the AFCON players before they leave because the schedule for the next few weeks is packed. Luke says he played well so far. However, he's more of a CDM.
Is he talking about Ayew?
I'm not too sure.
He's a winger. He's
I'd give you wide midfielder. I ain't gonna give
that
you
caught
CDM.
me off guard.
He's a winger. Ayew's a winger, mate. He's an.
I cannot imagine. That is funny. I cannot imagine Jordan Ayew playing CDM. That is a shout and a heart. That's funny. For that league. But let's move on to the next segment of the show. Signing of the season so far, and this is not going to be easy. And I'm going to list the players, and I'm going to list their price tags as well. Mark Gueye, £18 million. Odsonne Edouard, £15 million. Joachim Andersen, around. I'm saying around. Of course, you might say he's 16.5 years. I'm saying average, like £15 million. Joachim Andersen, 15. Will Hughes, 6 to 8 million. Elise, £8 million. Who on earth is our best signing so far this season? Who wants to go take the lead? Who wants it? Go on, Stan. You go.
Mark Gay.
Mark Gay. How comes? What's your reasoning for that?
Because I think it could have been, in my eyes, it could have been either one of those centre backs. Because I think they just add a whole new. He's added a whole new dimension to the way that we play. If you look at him, I think he's the better one of him and Anderson because he can play with Tompkins. He's very calm. He's very composed. He's a lot better at going forward. The thing he doesn't have is he doesn't have the crossfield, like the passing range that Anderson has. But I just feel like, young English centre-back, ball playing, bags of potential, from day one, really, has shown how good he is, how he can play. 18 million. I mean, you think about what some clubs below us have paid for centre-backs and stuff like that. Like, he's probably worth 35 now already.
Did you see his long ball percentage from the Norwich game?
What was
that?
75%. 4 long balls played, 3 of them were successful.
Where are you going with, T? Mark Gay as well?
So mine is separated. I'm going to give you the best signing, and I'm going to give you the most valuable signing.
All right, no, give it the best signing first, then we'll move on to the best valuable.
Best signing. I agree. It's Mark Gay.
Do you think? Okay, Mark Gay, and I think you echo Stan's thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that I think out of everyone that we have currently right now, he's going to be the one that then projects out the best in the future too. He's probably, hate to bring it up, but he's probably going to bring us the most money when the time comes that he ends up leaving us. He's probably going to bring us the most return on our
How
investment
old is he?
too. He's 20.
He's exactly.
He's 20. So he's
21, but
21.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's going to give us the best ROI when it's all said and done out of all these players. That we brought in now.
No, are you still sure about that comment? Because let's move on. Well, let me quickly say mine. I don't know, man. I can't decide. I think Mark Gay is excellent, but Odsonne Edouard, he's been very good for us as well. Mark Gay defensively, yeah. I guess due to the system that we play, Joachim Andersen's there, but I'm not too sure if it's the best signing. But then again, I don't want to play Joachim Andersen. We talk about Mark Gay being the best defender, but Joachim Andersen, in terms of signings and style of play, Joachim Andersen is a very important signing.
Yeah, but he's also 26.
You can have Mark Gay there, but without Joachim Andersen, we would have struggled a lot of games. We would have without his long balls. And I know he's been sloppy in the last. Well, he wasn't that bad against Norwich, but if you look at the season as a whole, Joachim Andersen being key for us. If we talk about the system and everything, Joachim Andersen's the shout as well.
Yes.
I don't think there's any easy answer, but keep sending in your signings of the season. Luke says Will Hughes. Interesting. Luke says Will Hughes, the bargain. Nick is going with the assistant. Assistant over the player.
Big time pickup right there.
Well, to be fair, I didn't say best player signing of the season, so you can do that if you want to. Now people are gonna say Patrick Vieira. Palace 49 says Conor Gallagher on loan. Mark Gay on a permanent deal. Sign of the season. Yep, we got one. Patrick Vieira. I know not technically a signing, but he has had the biggest influence on everything we do. We're a totally different club. 100% agree.
Shit, you sign a manager. That is a signing. I mean,
yeah. Well, we're talking about players. It's a bit cheat. It's cheating in a way, but we'll take it. Paul says there's no W in Gay. I get it, but I think that's how he didn't. Doesn't
Gay.
Gay. All right.
I think we struggle without Anderson. I think we lose without Gay a lot of times. That's how I feel. Yeah,
that's a decent shout.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. For me, if I list a lot of players, but I try to play devil's advocate with Joachim Andersen. But yeah, if you're looking at value right now, if you're looking at who we can sell straight away for more money as well, Mark.
But I would say Odsonne Edouard would be in the conversation more for me
Yeah.
with the best signing if we played him more. Think about how
It's
much
not
we
easy,
played.
man. This
You know what
topic
I'm
is
saying?
not
But think
easy.
about how
We
much we
chose.
played Gahey. Like if he would have gotten Gahey minutes, like getting full 90s every single time out there, I think he would be more in that conversation. To be honest with you,
I think as well, you've got to think like what Edouard's done as well is that he has brought a lot of competition for places, like a lot, and he's a bit of a
But so have others.
He's
Elise as
a
well.
total baller as well, and when he plays, we have that zip going forward. Like he really does add something that we didn't have before. So he's definitely up there. But yeah, for me, like Mark Gay, just when you see how good he is on the ball, and I'm telling you, give it 3 or 4 years. I mean, he's on a long-term contract at Palace. I would imagine in a year or two, if he continues this way, he's getting renewed. And
5 years, that's a very good deal.
He's getting sold for a lot of money.
So Stan, could you say then that Odsonne Edouard's ability, his level of play, has brought out the best or a better version of Benteke for us?
100%. Yeah. I think it's made Ayew better. I do. I think it has in recent games as well. And I think it's shown that Ayew is, what's it called? He's an out-and-out winger now rather than a striker. He is an out-and-out winger and he's effective there. Finally, he's not running into a blind alley. Finally, he's beating his man. Finally, he's putting a ball in and making defenders think, bloody hell, how am I going to deal with this? Do you know what I mean? And that's good, man. And that's all down to Vieira, because Roy Hodgson would have just continued with the same old crap.
Or started sticking him as striker again.
And yeah, that would have been it. And, we'd have had... Yeah, I think we'd be bottom of the league by now, unfortunately, if he was still here. But we're not, and I think it's just a great feeling. I think Darren said it here. How bloody awesome is it that we are struggling to pick our best signing? Oh,
exactly. And we've got another comment saying it feels a bit unfair because there are no bad signings this season. Exactly, all of them have been great, and
even the American Donny.
Well, I don't know where he is today. When I was going through the signings, I don't want to miss anyone. I was like, yeah, we signed Jacob Montes. God knows
Remy Matthews.
Remy Matthews. He made a program. Yeah, he made a program for this game. He's still there, but he's not signed of the season for this game, anyways. Let's bring on Nick. Nick, we're talking about signing of the season so far.
Yep.
Who's your signing of the season?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because they're all bloody good. I don't think it's fair to single any of them out because they've all got their plus and minus points. Gay, absolutely superb, definitely one for the future. Anderson, was it you on Twitter yesterday, DR? Going, I can spray a few passes, but other than that, I can't do much more. Did you watch him? It was one of the back of the net slot. I think it might have been Terrence, actually.
Yeah,
it was Terrence.
You're just trying to downplay me. Like, I never said anything like that.
No, it was Terrence actually from the preview pod who was dissing Anderson. Yeah, I don't think you can separate them. What would be a really good signing is if we can get Gallagher in January. Not sure how possible that is. But we proved that we can play without him because I think the midfielders we had stepped up yesterday. Other than that, yeah, I really don't think you can separate them. And I actually think had we not made any signings, we still would have improved under Vieira compared to last season.
We wouldn't have had any players.
That's true.
And that would have still been
a really good point.
Still would have been an improvement.
I mean,
let them all go.
This is talking about signings. Out of all these players that we got, Mark Way, Odsonne Edouard, Joachim Anderson, Will Hughes, and Olise, who has the highest ceiling? Who has the highest ceiling to, go and be that next star? Who do you think will be the best out of them lot?
You got Gay, England under 21 captain.
But I don't think you should sleep on Olise. We didn't even talk about him much. I know he's not a best signing, but
I haven't seen enough of
£8 million. but he's got ridiculous talent on him. When he has played, you can see the technical ability.
He needs to get his act together.
Stan, don't do this. He is to get. No,
Look,
he doesn't need to get his act together. He doesn't need to get. What are you talking about? His act.
We're
What do you mean his act together? He's 19 years old.
Mate, his potential is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're seeing Elise near the end of games playing really well. When he's started games, he's not been as good. When I start seeing him playing the full 90 and being good from the moment we kick off, then we'll see how good he is. But he's struggling to get into games at the start simply because of who is playing on that side with him.
Well,
look,
Nick.
Is he left or right? He can play both, right? So
he's apparently, according to my Reading mate, the best position he's seen him play is in the number 10 or the cab. So it might be there.
Don't sleep on him, please, guys.
I'm not sleeping on him, mate. I'm just saying, for the talent that he has, I think we should be getting a bit more out of him. I know he's young and stuff, but he's that good that I'm just surprised he hasn't contributed more.
Yeah. Also, feel free to call into the show, just like Nick. Nick, sorry, go ahead.
Do you think we need to fill any gaps in the January transfer window? Is there anywhere we need to look at thinking we definitely need to get somebody in there? Or do you think we're all right?
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right. We talked about that a bit as well. I on it, like, if we don't need, the word need is significant in this. We don't need to bring in any players, but we can improve the squad. But you don't do that in the January transfer window.
I think you've got to look at. So say like a player comes in, and if you're signing this player, he's got to be like, he instantly makes us better. Do you know what I mean? So like with the signings that we'd made in the summer, Edouard instantly made us better, right? Gay was an unknown because he was a youngster, but he's made us better. Will Hughes instantly, he makes us better, right? It's been a very long time since we've done that. Very, very long time. So I would say, like signing, if you can find someone that's really, really, really going to make us better, then but like, if you look at like Luca Dean was mentioned, he can't get a game at Everton. He can't get a game. And Tyreek Mitchell is in the form of his life. The
reason why I can't get a game is he's falling out with the manager. If Luca Dean came to Palace, he's Luca Dean ain't no bum. Like, he can play. Like, he's a good player.
I know.
But do you start him up? If he comes in, do you play him?
He doesn't come. That's what I said. We talked about this last week. That's why you don't buy Luca Dean, because Tyreek is on form and Luca Dean is not going to be on the bench, and it doesn't make any sense to get him.
We had, do you remember we had, what's his name? Fosu Mensah. He was playing right back for us a couple of years ago. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka came in and he couldn't get a look in afterwards. Like, you can't, what's it called? Like, I don't think we should be buying people to restrict like quality academy graduates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nick, anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, just a couple of things I've noticed in the world of Twitter and Palace news today. Palace have taken out a loan, a massive loan. That was on Twitter. If you search that out,
when did that come out?
Kieran Maguire. People are saying that might be to do with the main stand.
Was that recent? Like, when we talk about recent,
yeah, we took out a loan this week.
In terms of when did the news come out?
I saw it on Twitter today.
Yeah, I saw that as well. So they've secured, I think, I didn't give the number, but they've taken out significant security. They've taken out a loan and secured it against current assets. So against the academy, against the training ground, and against Selhurst Park. So I would imagine if you're doing that, it's part of the stadium redevelopment.
Yeah.
That's something to look out for the future. I've seen that. I've heard that the Watford game has been rearranged for next Wednesday. I don't know how true that is.
No.
I'm not too sure about that. There were talks about on Twitter. I saw that as well. But the Watford fan said that it's been updated for that day, but at 9 a.m. And there's no way on earth I'm waking up at 7 a.m. to go to Watford. So maybe it is on that day. I'm not going to any game at 9 a.m. I don't care
if it gets rescheduled. D will be there at 9 a.m. Just
he won't be happy. I've actually bought back the tickets off the bloke who bought them off me, because I've I came down with COVID, but the game
What type of money laundering is going on there?
cancelled, so I bought them back off the bloke I sold them to. It was really good. And lastly, I got Millwall tickets this morning, 5 minutes past 10. I kept refreshing. It said sold out. Refreshed the last time, and 2 tickets next to each other came up. So me and my son are going to Millwall. So that's exciting.
Nice.
I've heard from Millwall that they have only opened up the upper tier, and the lower tier is going to be completely sealed off because they're really worried about it kicking off.
They had trouble.
Really?
The lower tier has been shut for away fans for a long time because Millwall fans kept running up when Charlton were there in the lower tier and beat them up. So they just shut it.
Family Club of the Year, by the way. Family Club of the Year. Look, Nick, thank you. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
It's good to see you as well. Good spirits. COVID is done and over with, I guess. Now,
yeah. I'm
you all
still
feel
getting
fine?
tired when I go out, but
Oh,
I'm getting over it. It's all right. I'll be there Saturday.
All right, cool. All right then. See you, speak to you soon, Nick. Thank you.
Peace, Nick.
Henry, thank you.
How are you,
joining
mate?
us.
Yes,
How you
Hello,
doing?
man.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. We're talking about
Yeah.
signing of the season. Just quickly,
Yeah.
your signing of the season so far, and who has the highest ceiling for you?
Who has the highest ceiling? But
It's
I
not an easy
think
question,
the signing of
honestly.
the season, I mean, Elise for me is the highest ceiling, I think. But the signing of the season, I think, depends really how you look at it, because obviously I think Conor Gallagher's been the most impressive. When you look at his work rate, his contribution to the team is just like immense. And I think it's just the impact he's made has been so big that I'd have to give him that title of signing of the season. But having said that, it's not a permanent signing. So I would say that out of the permanent ones, Guehi has edged it because I just think he's been the one that's kind of carried forward that style of play that Vieira wants the team to do, which is like obviously keep the ball and retain the ball, and when you do that, you get more chances because you're not on the ropes all the time.
Yeah. Talking about moving on from signing of season, we're gonna shortly talk about the West Ham game. In a West Ham game, after the Norwich performance, how do you see that one going? Are you a bit more optimistic, considering that we might have a few players back and maybe our manager as well?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident. I mean, I think it'll be a lot harder than Norwich was because Norwich are just pathetic, to be honest. Like I really think Norwich are the most pointless team ever in the Premier League. Because do they ever stay up when they go up?
He said
I think they've
ever
stayed
in
up
the Premier
once
League,
when they've
too.
gone up.
They've had
like,
3 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last time they stayed up was 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, they are literally the definition of a yo-yo club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think we can take too much, like, we can't get carried away from the Norwich game, but we can be happy with the performance for sure.
Sorry to interrupt, Henry, but just from that Norwich game as well, a couple of things that their fans mentioned was that apparently Palace are the envy of pretty much every mid to lower end Premier League club. They've said that because we've obviously 8 or 9 consecutive seasons or whatever it is we've been up there now.
Yeah.
And secondly, they were abusing one of the most promising midfielders in the UK, Billy Gilmore. They were singing absolute expletives to him. So I just want to put a message out to Chelsea and to Billy Gilmore that Billy, mate, don't worry about Norwich because you're too good for them.
Yeah, definitely.
If Connor does end up going back to Chelsea, please come to Palace and you can actually play with proper Premier League players and get some good experience.
Well, actually, I didn't actually go to the game because I couldn't. I got to Victoria and then the trains were just, all of them were cancelled. But I was surprised to hear that, the Norwich fans were abusing Gilmore because he's like one of their best players, isn't he?
Yeah, he's their best player, mate. He's better than that entire team.
And he is. And, he's been in, I think he's been to a Champions League final.
Yeah.
So, that is.
He was man of the match
really
against
stupid.
England in the Euros as well. So, yeah.
So that's just unbelievable.
Henry, just before you go, for the West Ham game, what's your score prediction?
My
It's not
head
easy.
says
It's not easy.
it's not easy. It's not easy.
After that performance, yeah.
My head says 2-2. My heart says 2-1 Palace.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go 2-1 Palace because I don't like to predict us to draw or lose. So yeah.
Exactly. We have to do it. But Henry, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you once again for joining us. Hopefully we'll have you back on next week as well.
Yeah, cool.
Nice
Thanks.
one, Henry, mate.
See you
Appreciate it,
Thank
Henry,
you.
man. Take it easy.
That was Henry. We've got Ahmed now. Ahmed, what would you like to say?
Hi, D Stan. How are you guys doing?
Good,
Good,
mate.
man.
You all right?
Yeah, we're all good. How you doing?
All good. So, in terms of signing of the season, obviously we have quite a number of them, including the loan signing of Gallagher, who's been basically the best player at Palace. But I feel that after watching the previous game and looking at Guehi, I think he has to be the signing of the season for us.
Okay.
Because
Season.
the game against the previous game which we lost at when we saw that Zaha got sent off at Spurs and Tompkins and Anderson were getting dragged around due to the pace, that's where you understand the importance of Guehi. You got to see him, you got to see what he brings to the team, what he brings to that back line, able to recover his pace and everything, his physicality. Obviously, Olise hasn't hit the ground running, and I hope he does. But I feel that Guehi has to be the signing of the season.
Yeah. We're moving on to the West Ham game now. It's not going to be an easy game. Funny enough, they haven't really been on form. They started the season off well, but in this month they have struggled. They haven't won that many games. I think they only won 2 games in December. So they are definitely, you can go out there and try to get a result. It's not like the old West Ham. In terms of lineup and just your general thoughts on the game, after the Norwich game, would you make any changes?
Is Zaha back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he should be back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Before he
So
goes
basically,
to,
Mateta out, Zaha in straight away. And because the back line of West Ham is vulnerable because of the kind of centre backs they have, like Dawson and Diop, which cannot cope up with the trickery of Zaha, obviously, and Edouard's pace. I feel that will be making them. We can go for a counter-attacking approach for sure, and we can hit them hard.
Yeah. It's not going to be. Where do you put Edouard then? So does Edouard go out front for you?
No, I'll go Edouard at the left
And then Zaha up front.
basically left wing forward, yeah, and Zaha up top.
Okay.
Interesting. In terms of your score prediction for the game, how do you see it going then? If Zaha's fit, that improves us there. We don't know if Gallagher might. With the Gallagher situation, it's a bit uncertain at this current moment of time. If Gallagher and Zaha are playing, which Zaha is, I don't know if he will start. Do you think our chances of getting a result improves considering West Ham's recent performances and results?
If Gallagher is not there, I would prefer to us to be like the same midfield: Will Hughes, Kouyaté, and Schlupp, because this allows us. This will not only guard the back 4, but this will allow us the likes of Zaha and Edouard to be free up top. It allows them to run at the defenders rather than at that back line, because that back line is really slow. And they won the game. Obviously, the West Ham won the last game against Watford, but seeing the way and seeing the pace of Dennis being effective and his goals coming in that fashion only, you need to be having the same look with Zaha as well. Zaha can do that, and he's way better than Dennis. Obviously, he's proven that in the Premier League. So I feel that you need to exploit that centre-back partnership of Diop and Dawson for sure.
So, Ahmed, I would say that, that back line is slow, but their midfield is like world class. Like Declan Rice is unbelievable. So I would, if Gallagher is there, like bring him in straight away. Get Schlupp out, because Declan Rice will send him for a hot dog, man. Like don't even think twice about it.
Isn't Gallagher in quarantine?
No, I don't think he's in quarantine.
No,
I haven't heard anything associated with
I
it.
heard somewhere he tested positive or something.
No.
Well, he hasn't been confirmed. They asked about it after the game, and it wasn't. They're like, we're not too sure when he'll be back. So you don't
So
think it
if
will be
Gallagher
COVID
is
if
there,
that's the
he
case?
comes straight in for sure. For even stand for me as well, that he comes straight into the team because he will obviously be making those runs, which will stretch obviously Souček on one side and Rice to the other, which will allow the likes of Zaha and Edouard to get behind onto that back four of West Ham.
So how do you see it going?
I am, to be honest, this game depends entirely on the approach and the team as well. But I feel that we have a good chance of getting a 2-0 win over West Ham.
That would be amazing result after the Norwich one. You scoring?
Edouard.
Edouard again.
Yeah, and I'm hoping for Anderson header.
I think he's injured, mate.
Anderson, yeah, he might be, because he did come off in the last game against Norwich. He seemed like he picked up a knock. I'm not too sure if it's a serious thing. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. But Anderson winning a header, that would be amazing if Anderson wins a header, because that's been a massive myth. But I don't want to be negative right now. But Ahmed, look, thank you for joining us. Would you like to say anything else before you leave?
That's it, guys. That's good. It was nice speaking to you guys. Happy New Year,
too,
by the way.
Appreciate you, Ahmed, man. Happy New Year to you, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. So that was Ahmed. So let's now talk about the West Ham game as well. As I mentioned, they haven't had a great month. They have looked vulnerable at times, even though they won the last game. And it's not the old West Ham, I guess. We could potentially go out there to win. But every game you should try to win. But in this game, if we do go get a draw, would you guys be upset with it, considering that we're playing at home and our home form has been great? Or do you think that we should be going out there and getting a win no matter what?
I think we need to go out and get a win no matter what, because we've lost one game at home all season. However, West Ham are a really good team. They are a good team. Vulnerable at the back, but if you look at even there, they've got Souček. Is Kufal playing for them, or is he? I don't know if he's injured or not. But you look at their midfield, you look at their options up top. I mean, Antonio, he always has a beast of a game against us. So we need to really, I think a point would be a good result. I think a point would be a very, very good result against them. They're fifth in the league, guys. They've been up there all season. Let's not be ridiculous.
I mean, I think if you come out to win the game, if you come out playing to win the game and you get a draw, I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's a matter of us coming out and playing to win the game.
It depends who we get back as well, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We might even lose players. That's the mad thing with the times that we're living in right now. We might even lose players in the last. The game might be it's on a Saturday, but on a Friday evening when they do the test, someone might test positive. These are the crazy world that we live in. You don't even know. You really don't know who will be fit for the game. Paul says, if you like a stat, Palace have never lost at home on New Year's Day in our entire league history. Thank you, Paul, for jinxing it.
There you go, Paul. 2-0 West Ham.
Now it's 2-0 West Ham. Jason says West Ham are still very dangerous and a point would be a good result. Jay asked if I'm going to Brighton away. I should be going to Brighton away. I've been to every single game so far this season. But the question that I want to ask about this game is Zaha, if he should be back for this game, does he start for you guys? It's as simple as that. Does Zaha come back into the starting lineup?
For me, yes, but I'm going to let Stan have his say because I remember this part of the talk.
No, he doesn't come back for me. He does not come back for me one bit. I think, listen, I love him. He's the king. He's the greatest of all time. Okay. But he really let himself down. He let us down when we really, really needed him. And I don't think his form's been great. I mean, look, you can never write him off. He's always got something. He's a game changer, etc., etc. But I think that he needs to realize that he's not the top boy here anymore. There's 5, 6, 7.
He is a top boy.
There's a lot of players that we can win games with, and they aren't him. Do you know what I mean? So I think I don't think he deserves to start. I think absolutely in the squad, come off the bench, etc., etc. But yeah, he pissed me off the last game against Spurs. He really he threw his toys out of the pram.
But if you look at it, it's one game. he barely gets any red cards. And I understand that, like, it was very silly from him. He shouldn't have got that red card. But if you're looking at Zaha as a whole, he's a club legend. And he scored 5 goals this season as well.
Yeah.
Are you saying this? Are you considering his performances as well? Or is it just what he's done? Because you sound very upset over what he done in the Tottenham game rather than his actual abilities on the pitch. Because Zaha itself, he's still a very good player.
No, he's a very big player for us, for sure. But I just think that he hasn't been he's got 5 goals and some games he's been good, some games not so good. But like, I just think he needs to stop complaining all the time. He needs to stop moaning. He needs to get back to doing what he does best, which is scaring the living crap out of defenses, beating his man. You remember when he twisted up Danny Rose that year when we played Tottenham? Dele Alli scored the winner, scored an absolute blinder. But he twisted him up. He needs to start putting players on their backsides, and that's what he does best. Stop moaning. Stop thinking, you're hard done by, etc., etc. Get you the most foul player in the Premier League, but do what you do best and shut the haters up, mate, is what he needs to start doing.
So, T, on the other side, you want Zaha to start. So go ahead. The floor's yours. Why does he start for you?
I do want Zaha to start. I mean, because number one, I hate to use the word talisman sometimes, but like he having him in there means a lot for us just outside of what he does for us on the pitch. You know what I mean? He's a motivator for the team. Fans want to see him out there. And we know what he can do, what he can produce at any given second of any given minute of any given match. You know what I mean? So I can't. The thing is, if he's healthy, if he's eligible for me right now, he's playing. So
you know what I would say though, T, to that, I just think that he needs to realize he's not just little Wilf anymore. Like, he's Wilfried Zaha. He's a world-class player. He is. Do you know what I mean? He's our greatest ever player, and he needs to, like, people look up to him in the dressing room. There's players that are coming through the academy. There's players that we've signed that are younger, etc. And they're looking up to him, going, "How do I achieve what he's done in the game, etc., etc.? How do I become a legend at this club?" And he needs to step up to that. And doing what he did against Spurs and what he's been doing in the past few games, where he just complains and doesn't shut up and lets people get to him. That's not him, man. Like, I want the old Wilf back.
Yeah. Jason says, however, his attitude and whining needs to stop. He thinks that Wilf should start. He's too good for all of that nonsense. Paul says, agree, Stan. He hasn't been anywhere near his best this season. He hardly beats his man recently. Terry says, Wilf is top man all day long. Jay says, this is a massive wake-up call for Wilf, for him to make sure he knows he can't get away with this and change his attitude. Ronnie says, you would think he would show more maturity these days. Nick says he's 29, for fuck's sake. I think that's the key thing. He's nearly turning 30. Like, we're talking that Wilf is, I don't know, 23, 24. He's 30 years old. But that's Wilf. That's Wilf. His game's not going to change. For me personally, he doesn't start. I think Odsonne Edouard has to play out wide. Wilf can be on the bench, and if Edouard doesn't have a good game out wide, then maybe you push him forward and then put Wilf there. But I think it just collectively, I think it sends a message. You cannot drop Odsonne Edouard, and I know you can play up front, but we've got a squad now. We've got a squad, and I love Wilf to bits. But let's use that squad. There were some good plays against Norwich. Jordan Ayew is going to be his last game before the AFCONs, and you got Odsonne Edouard. He's still going to be there, but them two had a good game. If it doesn't work, you can bring on these players. I don't think Wilf should be guaranteed a start. But I'm not going to be sulking over his mistake as well. Like, he made a mistake. He apologized to the team afterwards in the dressing room.
He didn't apologize to the fans, though, did he?
But he doesn't need to apologize to the fans. He's kept us up like so many years.
That's true.
I love how you changed your tone on that straight away. like you didn't realize that. Like, you just forgot about that. So finally, we need to end it here. Score predictions: Palace versus West Ham. How do you see it going? And also send in the comments as well.
1-1. 2-1 Palace.
2-1 Palace. 1-1.
2-1 Palace.
I'm gonna go for 2-1. I said in my head it was 2-0 against Norwich. We beat them 3-0. I'm gonna go 2-1. I think West Ham got talent to score goals, but if we've got a bit of a not a bit, yeah, from Tuesday to Saturday, got a little break. Hopefully Vieira will be back as well. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Palace.
Look at
Nick saying
Nick. Come
3-2
on,
to West
Nick.
Ham. Yeah, being positive as usual. Jay saying 2-1 Palace. They saying 2-1 Palace.
Nick still got
Keep
COVID,
sending a
man. I'm
prediction.
convinced. He still got COVID.
It's the tiredness that's getting them. But West Ham are a good side. You never know, because 3-2 is a realistic scoreline as well.
You know what? They always turn up at Selhurst as well. Like, they always play well at Selhurst. We haven't got the greatest record against them in the Prem. It's a difficult game. Coyote, last game before he goes to AFCON, he always turns up against them as well. Like, he's his old club. He always plays well. So let's see.
They says last minute goal. Jason says 1-0. AY says 4-1. 0-0 ball draw. We scored goals in every single one of our games, apart from Brentford at home so far this season. So that'll be a surprise. Nick says we're still finishing top 7. And on that note, that's it for today. We will be back next week on Tuesday, 7:30. If you're watching on Facebook, head over to our YouTube channel, subscribe. There'll be more content coming out throughout the week. And catch us here live next week as well. And if you want to call in next week, let us know your thoughts. And hopefully we'll be looking into the Millwall game, talking about the West Ham game. And fingers crossed, both those results could go well. And until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.
Palace.